Welcome to Psychominds. Here psychology is made simple, clear, and based on science. Sensory perception is the process through which the brain receives, organizes, and interprets sensory information from the external world. It is not a passive recording of reality, but an active construction shaped by neural processes, prior experiences, expectations, and cultural context. What we perceive is always a combination of sensory input and mental interpretation. The sensory systems vision, hearing, touch, taste, and smell convert physical stimuli into electrical signals that travel through specific neural pathways to the brain. These signals are then processed in cortical areas specialized for each modality, such as the visual cortex for sight and the auditory cortex for hearing. However, perception goes beyond sensation. The brain integrates information, fills in gaps, and creates coherent representations of reality. This explains why two people can perceive the same situation differently. Perception is influenced by attention, emotion, memory, and belief systems. In psychology and psychiatry, understanding sensory perception is fundamental because many mental disorders involve perceptual distortions. Studying perception helps clinicians differentiate between normal experiences and pathological alterations, such as hallucinations or delusions. Ultimately, perception is the bridge between the external world and subjective experience, shaping how we understand reality, interact with others, and make decisions. Illusions and hallucinations are two distinct types of perceptual alterations that play a central role in psychopathology. An illusion occurs when a real external stimulus is misinterpreted by the brain. For example, mistaking a shadow for a person in the dark is an illusion. Illusions are relatively common in everyday life and do not necessarily indicate mental illness. They can be influenced by fatigue, stress, anxiety, or environmental conditions such as low lighting or noise. Hallucinations, on the other hand, are perceptions without any external stimulus. The person truly sees, hears, or feels something that is not present in reality. Auditory hallucinations, such as hearing voices, are particularly associated with psychotic disorders like schizophrenia. Neurologically, hallucinations involve abnormal activity in sensory brain regions, often linked to dopamine dysregulation and disrupted neural networks. Emotion and belief systems can intensify these experiences. Clinically, distinguishing illusions from hallucinations is essential for diagnosis and treatment, as hallucinations are usually a stronger indicator of severe mental disturbance. Thinking can be analyzed through two main dimensions: form of thought and content of thought. The form refers to how ideas are organized, connected, and expressed, while the content refers to what the person actually believes or thinks. In terms of form, healthy thinking is logical, coherent, and goal-directed. In psychopathology, alterations in thought form may include disorganized thinking, flight of ideas, tangentiality, or thought blocking. Alterations in thought form are commonly seen in schizophrenia, mania, and severe anxiety, where the flow of ideas becomes chaotic or fragmented. The content of thought involves beliefs, ideas, and interpretations of reality. Delusions are pathological alterations in thought content, fixed false beliefs that are resistant to evidence and culturally inappropriate. Understanding both form and content is crucial in clinical assessment, as they reveal how a person processes reality and whether their thinking aligns with shared reality. Language is one of the most complex cognitive functions and is deeply intertwined with thought. It allows humans to communicate, express emotions, share knowledge, and structure abstract reasoning. From a psychological perspective, language is not just a tool for communication but also a mechanism for organizing thought. We often think in words, using internal speech to plan, reflect, and solve problems. In psychopathology, language alterations can reveal underlying cognitive or emotional disturbances. For example, pressured speech is common in mania, while reduced speech may occur in depression or schizophrenia. Neurologically, language is supported by specific brain areas such as Broca's area, speech production, and Wernicke's area, language comprehension. Damage to these regions results in different types of aphasia. Studying language provides insight into how the mind structures reality and how mental disorders disrupt communication and cognition. Affectivity refers to the broad range of emotional experiences that humans feel, including feelings, moods, and emotional responses. Mood is a more sustained emotional state that influences perception, thinking, and behavior. A healthy emotional system allows individuals to experience joy, sadness, anger, and fear in appropriate contexts. However, in psychopathology, affectivity can become dysregulated. Mood disorders, such as depression and bipolar disorder, involve significant alterations in emotional states. Depression is characterized by persistent sadness, lack of motivation, and emotional numbness, while mania involves exaggerated euphoria and impulsivity. Affectivity also interacts with cognition. For example, a depressed person tends to interpret events negatively, while an anxious person focuses on potential threats. Understanding affectivity is essential in clinical psychology because emotional states strongly influence mental health, relationships, decision-making, and quality of life. Here on PsychoMinds, we explain psychology with clarity and scientific responsibility. Subscribe and be part of a community focused on learning and understanding the mind.